Hello and welcome everyone to your Friday edition of the Daily 8 on the News 8 Live Desk. Phil Penarski, happy to be with you all again as we inch closer and closer to the weekend and spring break for some of us here in West Michigan. We've got a full show for everyone today, so let's go ahead and jump right into things. And our first story is actually an update to some breaking news that we brought you to begin yesterday's show. Police in Kalamazoo say that a fleeing assault suspect shot and injured a township officer Thursday morning, prompting officers to return fire. News first broke out about a possible shooting around 11 a.m. Thursday, with authorities now confirming that it was an officer-involved shooting. As of late Thursday afternoon, we learned that the officer is in stable condition and the suspect is in critical condition. The identities of both individuals has yet to be released. We did learn more from police as they told news stations that the suspect had allegedly assaulted his girlfriend and pointed a gun at her earlier in the day. He fled the area, but responding officers were able to locate him. That's when he tried to run from them and ultimately shot at one of the officers, striking him in the leg. Officers returned fire and shot the suspect. The police department released images from the shooting taken from the body cameras worn by the officers. We do expect to learn more later today, and we will bring you the latest information both on woodtv.com and on air when we do learn more. A former Grand Rapids Catholic school teacher has been sentenced to nearly a year in jail on a sexual assault charge involving a teenage boy that he met in the classroom. 27-year-old Nicholas Young was facing multiple counts of third-degree criminal sexual assault involving a student, but he entered a plea to a reduced charge of attempted criminal sexual conduct. Police were first contacted about the allegations between Young and the student last year. Young was actually fired from Grand Rapids Catholic Central High School in 2022 after being charged with providing alcohol to minors. Young will now serve 333 days in jail and 5 years of probation after his release. He is also subject to electronic monitoring. A recent death of a patient from Michigan at an Ohio hospital is making headlines this week. The Ohio Health Department confirmed that the patient died from rabies after a kidney transplant back in January. The surgery happened 1 month earlier, according to health officials in Ohio, Michigan, and the CDC. The identities of the patient and the donor have not been released at this time. The death has sparked questions regarding organ donations, but one Michigan doctor spoke to News 8 to try and dispel those concerns. Dr. Daniel Call of the Transplant and Infectious Disease Center for the University of Michigan says that this should not discourage people who have organ failure from seeking a transplant, as organ failure has a much higher chance of a bad outcome. Call also said that an unexpected donor transmission like this happens in less than 1% of all transplants and is often treatable. A vehicle was pulled from a creek in Crockery Township early Friday morning, and officials are now looking for the driver. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office had deputies and a dive team out with the local fire department on reports of a submerged vehicle in a creek at the intersection of Leonard Street and 112th Avenue. Authorities say that the 2024 Ford Escape was heading down 112th Avenue and didn't make the turn at Leonard Street, then plowed through the guardrail and ended up in the water. Deputies say that they did not find the driver in or around the vehicle and believe the driver actually left the area before they arrived. They said that they have no plans to check the water at this time. The crash remains under investigation, and anyone with any information is asked to contact the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office or Silent Observer to remain anonymous. Next, a warning from Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, who is urging users of 23andMe to consider deleting their accounts. The service, of course, takes your DNA and analyzes it to give you reports on your genetics and ancestry history. Nessel says that users should consider the risk to their personal data after the company filed for bankruptcy. In a press release earlier this week, Nessel said that the company collects very personal data, and deleting the account is one way to ensure that your information is protected. 23andMe has stated that there are no changes to how it stores user data. Nessel's office has been monitoring the company while it's been under investigation after a 2023 data breach which exposed the personal information of about 7 million Americans. The Attorney General's office has created a helpful guide for anyone looking to delete their accounts. We have those details up over on woodtv.com right now. And Michigan's new child car seat laws go into effect next month, and News 8 wants to make sure that you know if your child's seat is legal when that switch happens. Starting on April 2nd, parents are required to make sure their children's car seats fit the requirements. Under the new laws, kids younger than 2 must be in a rear-facing seat and can make that switch to a forward-facing car seat when they turn 2 or hit the maximum weight or height requirements from their seat's manufacturer. Kids must then be in a seat until they hit those requirements again or after they turn 5. Kids should then be moved to a belt positioning booster seat until they turn 8 or reach the height of 4'9". All children under 13 are also advised to sit in the back seats of vehicles unless there isn't one available. Using these restraints could reduce crash fatalities, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, by upwards of 50%. Let's step aside now and get you a look at your forecast for your Friday. Here's Storm Team 8 meteorologist Matt Kirkwood.
Welcome to the warmest day of the week. Waiting for a warm front to move through, and that's going to push our temperatures up well into the 60s, maybe even some 70s out there. And as it does move through, you can see a clustering of scattered showers and some thunderstorms that are going to be moving in as well. I think we'll have those chances until about 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. After that, we'll start to really see some clearing out there, and temperatures will be in the mid-60s by then, even some 70s south of Grand Rapids. Here's what we're tracking out there, and overall it's going to be a wet and mild weekend. It's not going to be raining all the time, but certainly you'll want your umbrella handy. Much colder as we basically close out the chapter of the month of March and begin the month of April. You can see cold enough that you may mix in a little bit of snow on Monday. First day of April, 42 degrees, and it looks like one of the few dry days in that 8-day forecast. Another storm system moving in mid part of next week, with temperatures by then should be in the 50s.
All right, thanks, Matt. We end things today with a historic Grand Rapids building and its new owners. OVD Insurance is set to purchase the 7-story building at 37 Ottawa near Fulton Street in downtown. The plan is to turn the 30,000 square foot 3rd and 4th floors of the building into OVD's new headquarters. The rest of the building will lease out to the current tenants occupying the building. The insurance brokerage received a $1 million grant from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to support the project. The building itself was first erected in 1890 and was the original home of the Grand Rapids Refrigerator Company. The new building is expected to create about 130 new jobs over the next 5 years as part of the project. The plan is for the move to happen later this year. And that's going to do it for us today on the Daily Aid. Although remember, we do have an extended full-hour version of the Daily Aid coming up later today at 2 p.m. over on Wood TV. Plus, we're going to be talking all about the Sweet 16 matchups happening tonight between Michigan and the Auburn Tigers, as well as Michigan State and the Ole Miss Rebels. Those are going to be some great games and could potentially lead to an all-Michigan Elite Eight. Dean Holsworth and Andy McDonald from the Hoops Frenzy podcast will be joining us to talk a little bit about those matchups and the potential all-Michigan Elite Eight for a chance at the Final Four. That's all coming up. Hopefully we will see you then, and if not, I do want to thank everybody so much for tuning into this latest edition of the News 8 Live Desk. I'm Phil Pinarski, and we hope you have a great rest of your day and an even better weekend.